Hi, this is Don Schaefer. Excited to be with you once again. I know last week we talked about the race to perfection. Talked about the opportunity we have to reach areas in life never dreamed by man. God has created great potential inside of each and every one of us, and it's up to us to use our life the best that we possibly can. And a lot of times what happens in life, we don't invest in ourselves. We don't take the time to be developed in the areas that God is wanting us to be developed in. So therefore, we don't achieve all that we can in life. And it's so important for us to realize that there are principles, there are laws that God has set for mankind. His Bible talks about it, that we need to develop and become in life. So this week, I'm going to talk about an exciting lesson for me called Your Attitude is Everything, and how important it is to develop the attitude that we have in life, because it does give us everything. And the scripture I use is in Colossians chapter 3, verses 12 through 13. Therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, put on tender mercies, kindness, humility, meekness, long-suffering, bearing on one another and forgiving one another if any has a complaint against another, even as Christ forgave you, so also you must do. So this is talking about we robe ourselves with things in life to become the people we want to be. This whole series is about creating your future. The fact that each and every one of us has a future, and the fact that we don't allow circumstances to create this, but we put a plan together to try to create the future that we want in life, that our dreams, our goals, our ideas, areas in life that we have nurtured from time to time. Sometimes we've placed them alongside, but perhaps God has created us with a purpose that we need to achieve these areas. And that's where today this lesson is going to be good for you, is because it's going to show you an element that can open up many, many areas of your life. And if you develop it properly, you'll be amazed at how much this world has to give you if you can develop yourself to give to the world. And William James had a quote here. I'm going to quickly read this. It says, "The greatest revolution of my generation is the discovery that by changing the inner attitudes of your mind, you can change the outer aspects of your life." And it's all about our attitude, how we change the inner portions of our mind. And we can have there's a revolution going on, that we can change the inside, and the outside all of a sudden starts to change. Our whole world is basically developed by what's going on inside of our minds. Our minds are what controls so much, and our attitude is a big part of it. So I'm going to go through a series of points here and try to explain this well and give you some encouragement in realizing the potential you have in your life. The first point I have here is your attitude will make or break you throughout your life. Your attitude will make or break you throughout your life. It's all about our attitude. It is a power in our life. It's a power in our relationships, how we connect. It makes and breaks so much of our life. It opens up doors in our life. It closes doors in our life. There's so much pertaining to the attitude that we have in life. And everybody has one. Everybody has an attitude. Some of them are good, some are not so good. Some of them are great, and some can be even better. And that's where our attitude is something that is so important. And I know sometimes people will say, that guy really has an attitude. And a lot of times it's done in a negative way. But then again, people say that person really has a real positive attitude about them. It's very enjoyable being around them. So our attitude will make or break. And it's a liking factor in our life. Because when you have a good attitude, people tend to like you. And they'll tend to want to do things for you. They'll tend to want to help you. People who have good attitudes in my life, I have no problems taking time out for them. I have no problems handling situations. People who have bad attitudes, a lot of times I'll do the best I can with them, but a lot of times I don't even want to be in the same room with these people because they affect you. People with bad attitudes can take you down. There are people, I remember working in the shop years ago, and people with positive attitudes, I'd go out of my way to go and say hi or make a comment or ask them how things are going. People with bad attitudes, sometimes I see them and I kind of try to find ways to get around them, because I know that if I ask them how things are going, it's not going to be good, and it's going to tear me down. And that's just the way it is. Our attitude will make or break our life, and it's very, very important. And that's where the most positive attitudes we have sometimes can influence the whole area around us. People with a good positive attitude, they create an atmosphere. They create something that people want to be around and a part of. Your attitude is very important in that area. And that's where it's important for us to realize that our attitude really is everything. Our next point is your true personality is expressed by your attitude towards others. Your attitude touches people emotionally. Who you are, your true personality comes out in your attitude. And a lot of times, it's not so much when good things are happening, but when bad things might happen. All of a sudden, it's your attitude that shows what's really inside you. That's where it's so important to develop a good attitude. I remember one time I was talking with a group of people. There were about 50 of us. And I told them, I said, it would be interesting, if you can take this and make a picture in your mind, be interesting that if all of a sudden we get dumped with snow in Wisconsin here, we get dumped with snow and we couldn't get out of the building. And we had to stay here for a whole week, all of us in the same building, 50 of us. Our needs would be met. We'd have food and whatever we needed to take care of our basic needs, but we'd be together for a week. I told this group, I said, I wonder how people would be treating each other after a day, after 2 days, 4 days, or a whole week. What our attitudes would be like, because that's the true character of a person. That's what, our whole personality is expressed by how we handle situations when they're not so good. And it's important to develop an attitude that's going to be powerful, because our personality radiates with a good attitude. I know Earl Nightingale one time said that attitude is the most important word in all of the English dictionary, because attitude is something that should be the most important part of our life. We should try to develop this in a big and powerful way, because it has the avenue to so many areas in life, so many areas leading into our future and what we become in life. All is based upon an attitude that's developed inside of us. So it's important that we develop a good attitude. People around us, next point, people around you are affected by your attitude and reactions almost instantaneously. You affect people. I know I one time said that every individual affects people, up to 10,000 people in their life, either good or negative. We affect people. Just us being in this world, just being on this planet, we affect people around us. And our attitude is so important, because it's instantaneous. Because I'm sitting there within the first minute or two of being with a person, a lot of times you can tell the attitude that individual has within them, and it affects how you're going to handle yourself, what you're going to say to them, what you're going to give them, what you're going to allow them to do, whatever the circumstance might be. Our attitude is very important as far as people around us. It is seen and felt immediately in every human interaction. When positive, pleasant, likable people are around you, we tend to respond positive and pleasantly around these people. When it's a negative individual, it tends to bring out the negative inside of us. And that's where, if there's two people, one that's with a positive attitude and is happy, or one who has a negative attitude and is unhappy, there's gates to my life. I close the gates on a lot of these negative people. I don't even want them, being a part of me. I'll work with them. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a pleasant moment. It's hard. I always try to help them change their attitude. Try to help them to see what they can become, because it's so important. Next point we have is, the more you like yourself, the more you like and respect other people. It's so important to get ourselves in a position where we can say to ourselves, and sometimes I tell people to get in front of the mirror and say this, I like myself, or I love myself. Because if you don't like and care about yourself, you're not going to want to develop good things inside you. But if you can say, I really do like myself, it reflects out of you, because you care about yourself, you're taking care of yourself, You actually set up standards for your life. So much of life is based on the standards we set up. This is what I will or will not do. I have a certain standard I want to reach in my life, certain type of person I want to become. And when I set up a standard, then I do things daily that become rituals. I do things that will help me to reach that standard. There's certain things I do and certain things I don't do because they affect me into becoming the person that I want to be, want to develop inside me, because I want to be able to handle life. I want to receive every blessing, every promise, every capability that God has for me, because I believe if He laid it out there and says it's possible, but it all depends on me. It depends on how I allow myself to be developed in different areas of life. Okay, let's see here, I'm going to go on here. The next point is positive self-talk will keep you feeling optimistic and upbeat throughout the day. This is very, very important. If you get nothing out of this lesson but this is the most important point. It's positive self-talk. It's what you say to yourself in your mind. There's always a conversation going on. It's either positive or it's negative. So many times we have been destroyed. Our lives have been destroyed. Our futures have been destroyed by the conversations that have been going on inside of our mind. And with 95% of our emotions are determined by the self-talk. It's what we say to ourselves. We're always cutting ourselves down. We're always sitting there thinking in a negative way. We got to be careful. By taking care of your inner dialogue, you take care of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and ultimately your future. By taking care of the dialogue within you. I go through a ritual. I take what I call a declaration sheet. I declare things because there are things that there's a part of us that we don't realize that we're working with. We have the capabilities. Our conscious minds have the capabilities of developing a subconscious. Our subconscious mind is an area of our life that tries to produce what our conscious mind wants in it. And it will produce things positively as well as negatively. And it's much like a field. We plant seed into our subconscious mind by the things we say and the things we'll think in our lives and our conscious mind. We plant seed into our subconscious mind. This land in our subconscious mind doesn't care what is planted. It's just like a field that a farmer might have. Whatever seed is planted, that's what grows. If you don't plant any seeds, weeds will grow. It's usually a crop that we don't want. But if we want good, positive areas in our life, we have to plant the seed. And a good part of planting that seed is the self-talk. It's what we say to ourselves. It's what we express. So if we can get down, I know myself, I declare things every day. I say, I am going to be successful. I am going to be determined. I am going to be healthy. I am going to be strong. I am going to take care of myself. I am going to love people. I am going to have a good attitude. These are all seeds that I plant into my subconscious mind. And what happens when I do that, it comes out of me. See, the strong repeated word in our conscious mind all of a sudden gets itself into the subconscious mind, and it's what we become. That's where it's so important when we deal with children, raising children. We say positive things to our children. We say, you're going to be strong, you're going to be wise, you're going to be very capable in these areas. What we're doing is we're feeding not only the conscious mind, but we're feeding their subconscious mind. We're feeding something that they will gravitate to. A lot of times in life, you start speaking to people in areas that they are not strong in, but you'll speak to them. You're actually speaking into their conscious, which goes into their subconscious mind. They start to believe this, and they allow their emotions to get involved. It plants a good seed in their subconscious, and eventually they start to become that. You start to tell them they're doing a good job, even though it might not be the best. They will want to do a good job, and they will look at themselves as doing a good job, and eventually they will be a good worker and do a good job. But I'm going to move on here. Next point is replacing negative thoughts with positive. replacing negative thoughts with positive. It's an interesting thing about the way we are made up. We can change. That's the beauty of life. I wouldn't be talking here today if it wasn't the fact that all of us can change. We can become, and we can be good. We can have a good attitude, and that can be changed. We can place ourselves in situations where we're around negative people, we're reading negative material, we're listening to negative stuff, we are saying negative things in our mind, and we can allow ourselves to become a bad person. But if we are not where we want to be in life, we can change that also. That's all we have to do is start putting positive things within us. We can start getting ourselves around the right type of people. We can read the right type of books. We can listen to the right type of material. We can allow our minds not to think negative things, but allow positive things to flow within our minds. What we do is we start planting seeds in our subconscious. We start to become that. That's the way God has created us. We are creatures of change. We can be changed into anything in a moment, in a small period of time. Your mind only thinks one thing at a time. That's where it is in multiple things. You need to take care of the one thought that you're dealing with right now and make sure that it's positive. And I often say to people, this story has been shared with me a long time ago, birds will always fly over the top of your head. Not a whole lot you can do about that. The birds fly. But if a bird wants to stop and build a nest on top of your head, there is something you can do about that. You can shoo that away and take that nest off the top of your head. It's the same thing with negative thoughts. They will always come flying by you. But if you take these thoughts and start to meditate on them and think about them and speak to them, all of a sudden you're planting these negative thoughts. You've made a decision. Our decision should be we keep these thoughts from taking hold of us. You can substitute positive thoughts for negative thoughts anytime you choose to do so. So when negative situations come your way, try to find the positive. Try to think positive in that situation so that positive things can happen. And we feed our mind and our life with enhancing thoughts rather than dwelling on thoughts that make you angry and sad. So we have to be careful because we feed our minds. And a lot of times, if there's areas that make us angry and sad, we got to be careful of these areas. Sometimes the news does this for me because I see things and it starts getting me angry and it starts to affect my attitude. I don't want that to happen. So I need to put positive things into me. And that's where the last point I wanted to share with you, second last, I'm getting ahead of myself. Second last is whatever you can see yourself as being, you can be. It talks about vision. All improvement in your life starts with an improved mental picture. So you start to see yourself. Start to envision yourself as being the person that you want to be. It could be physically, it could be your attitude, how you handle situations. You see yourself in a positive way. That picture is something that will help you gravitate. Having a vision in life for yourself, your future, your attitude, all very important because you gravitate to it. It's got a certain attraction that you have. I know myself, I have a picture board of areas in life that I want to achieve. Some of them I've already achieved. I want to be able to see these things on a daily basis and get it planted in my mind. Sometimes you help when you compliment people, when you lift up people, you help them create a vision for themselves. So many times in life, we've been gifted by God and we have the abilities to do a lot, but we need somebody to notice that and create a vision inside. Say, you know what? I see you as this or that. Very powerful in creating you, in creating everything that you can become. Last point, finally, is you can act your way into feeling the way you want to feel. You can act your way into feeling the way you want to feel. See, we become our own star in our own show. We act our way into the way we want to feel. There's so many times in life we don't do anything because we don't feel like it. But they have found out in the course of time that if you can start doing something, placing action into it, the feelings come later. I know Shirley and I, we work with many married couples who have come to us and said, I don't have that loving feeling anymore. And the first thing that we think of and the first thing we say to them is, what have you been doing? because marriage and relationship is all about actions. Because when you do loving actions and show that you care for another person, the feelings start to follow that. But when you don't do these actions, sometimes the feelings disappear, and all of a sudden you get yourself in a situation where you don't feel like loving that person anymore. And that's where in life, what we're going after, we're looking to create things in life, and it takes action, and our attitude takes action. We have to take the action of planting things in our life. And when we take the action, it makes us feel like doing things in life. And therefore, we can become most anything. I know I've listened to actors talk about this, where they study scripts and they study the characteristics of individuals and they start acting them out. They're at home or wherever they're at, they'll start acting them out. After a period of time, they start to feel like that individual. They take on the character of the individual. So then when they get into their show or movie or whatever they're doing, their play, they act it out, and it becomes who they are. And they become very believable in what they're doing. But it started out by acting it out. By acting it out, they became that. It's the same thing in our lives. There's areas that we want, characteristics in our life that we see are good, and we want these. We need to act these out, and eventually we become that. We become what we act out. That's where the world is looking for people to become a star. We're looking for, people always look for stars that they can sit there and idolize and try to become like, and we become an example. And your life is powerful because your attitude is everything. And if you have to act it out to become that, that's powerful. We walk by faith. We act by faith. We allow ourselves to do things with the faith of what's going to follow. And our attitudes are something that are developed by faith. We develop in the fact that if we act like we're positive, eventually we will be positive. We will see things in a positive way. We have set that standard. We have created a ritual in our life. We have plugged certain areas in our life that feed us, that feed the land that we are developing, that our crop can be good, and that our attitude can be everything and can get everything that we need and want in life. We can create that future that we have laid before us. We have tremendous opportunity. And if we can develop ourselves on the inside to be the person that we were meant to be, we can achieve our goals. We can achieve the purposes that we're going after. We will eliminate an element that can stop us, a bad attitude, a bad mental process, and we can become all that we want to be in life, and we can be a blessing to all that are around us. And in closing this out, I got some action items that I just want to pass on to you. Okay, the first one, these are areas that you can do. You can write down the decision that you will make today to develop and maintain a positive mental attitude. Okay, so wherever you're at, my encouragement is try to improve it in some way or some fashion, because that's what life is all about. It's continuous improvement. You never get bored in life because you're continuing to improve, and your attitude is an area that you can work on. Number 2, start a habit of visualizing yourself as being a positive, confident, cheerful person who is liked by everyone. Okay, you envision yourself being liked by everyone. I live life with this attitude. I believe everybody likes me, and I hope you do too. I don't know about that, but I envision myself being liked by everybody, because then it makes it very easy for me to have a good attitude, and it makes it very easy for me to treat everybody in a good way, because I believe that they like me. Okay, so number 3, find ways to make other people feel important by encouragement, praise, and showing gratitude. So what you do is you find ways to help other people, because I have a good gentleman that I tapped into many years ago, a big part of my life, and see him speak a couple times, Zig Ziglar. He says you can have everything you want in life by helping others obtain what they want in life. So when you can encourage people, when you can lift them up, make them feel important, and show praise and honor towards them, what happens? It comes right back to you. That's why I want to encourage you to find ways to help other people in that way. And number 4, act like you are chosen and prized child of God, one who is most popular, persuasive, influential with everyone in your life. This for you might call you to fake it until you make it, to act like it. Wherever you're at today, find out how powerful this one part is. Being able to fake it until you make it. Become something that maybe you're not right now, but start acting like you are, and find out how powerful this one element is, this one principle is. Walk by faith. Walk by faith that God can do a powerful thing. I want to close in a prayer here. Lord, I thank you for the time that you've allowed me to spend here today, and I pray, dear God, for great blessings in all of our lives, Lord, that we can realize the power of having a good attitude, that you'll continue to give us strength and direction in that we can be a blessing not only in our life, but to all that are around us, that we can encourage others, and that we can obtain the future that you've created for us, Lord, the purpose you designed us for. In your precious and wonderful name I pray. Amen. Well, I want to thank you for being with me, and I'm looking forward to getting back with you again. Have a great week. Thank you.